Hey, this is your girl, msyelladiva. I am bringing you another episode of The Real Housewives of Atlanta, Season 16, Episode 14, Chapter 2, Renew. Okay, all right. If you are new here, welcome. We do reviews here, okay? And if you are returning, welcome back. Welcome back. All right. Give me a thumbs up, like, share, and subscribe to my channel, and we will begin. All right. So, um, first, let me give you a little talk here. First, you see my new background. I am on X, formerly known as Twitter. I am on what is that called? TikTok. I'm losing my mind. Facebook and Instagram, okay? And you see my little hearts and my little thumbs up. I like that. I'm trying something new. Bear with me, okay? All right. Anyway, all right. Also, all right, so it was a whole lot of news coming out of the Atlanta streets. Okay, first and foremost, that Brit did not show up to the reunion. Okay, she didn't want to be questioned for all this shady shit she did this whole season. Okay, and then she gonna come. Okay, so she gonna say that she not going to the reunion. Then she gonna put a thing like the picture that she was crying about. She had to tell her mama about. She gonna lose. She losing her license over. Wasn't even her. Boo, tomato. Okay. Boo, boo, boo. Okay, girl. Listen, this one lady on TikTok said you were the worst housewife of all time. Okay, and I totally agree with that. She called you the woat or something like that. Okay, the worst housewife of all time. Okay, yes. Okay. So if that picture wasn't you didn't lose your license over that picture. Okay. And if that picture wasn't you, because I know there's no pictures of me, because I ain't take none. Okay. So obviously you took some. She just couldn't find the picture of you. But you got her kicked off the show, even though you threatened to pull guns out on her. I see. I see how you go. I see how you living. The worst of housewives of all time. Then she's trying to sue Bravo. She's trying to sue Bravo for $20 million. For what? For a picture that ain't you? So is the picture you or the picture not you? Okay? Girl. Anyway, and also that seating chart. Who made that up? Because one side is got Portia, Phaedra, and Cynthia. That's the only three people that's on there. First of all, Phaedra should be at the end of the couch because she only was in the last 2, 3, 4 episodes. Okay, that's the first and foremost. She shouldn't be on the stage first. Okay, she should come out, on part 3 because she came on the show part 3. Second of all, they got Shamea, Angela, Kelly, and Drew. First of all, Drew should be where Shamea's at. Okay, because she should be first chair because the show was about her. Okay, the show was about her, but on this stupid Drew and Dennis story. The stupid Drew and Dennis story. The story was about her. So she should have to the second. She should be next to Angie. Then Shamea. Then Kelly should be on the other side. Cause Kelly, she did her thing, so she should be. Phaedra should be gone, and she should be next to Portia, and then Cynthia, and then it should be. Well, I don't know. Angela brought a whole lot to the show too. You know, so and maybe Angela should be next to Portia, yeah, and then Kelly next to Shamea. That's it. And then Cynthia at the end of the couch and Kelly at the end of the couch. Yeah. Mhm. So, you know, but I don't know who made up that stupid seating chart either. Okay, Britt, you are the worst housewife of all time. Worst housewife of all time. And you didn't go to the reunion because you did not want to be questioned about your actions this whole season. This whole season. And picture ain't you, girl. Okay, let's get into this review. Okay, so they still in Grenada. Okay, and Drew is rejuvenated in her twin bed, girl. She said she is rejuvenated. Okay, yes, honey, yes. Anyway, Britt, hus quote unquote husband, because I heard allegedly they ain't even married. Okay, but we gonna call her. We gonna call him the quote unquote husband, Mike. And my other thing, I'm going off on tangents. They got so much smoke for Charles Oakland about how he treats Angela and their dynamics and stuff like that. But y'all don't have that same smoke for Mike, who don't care nothing about Britt. Okay. She over here crying and stuff like that. And he like, okay. All right. He's sitting way at the end of the couch while she crying. Okay. You know. No, y'all got so much smoke for Charles Oakley, but y'all ain't got smoke for this one. He ain't her husband anyway, so it don't even matter. Okay, moving on. So anyway, she talking to her husband, quote unquote husband, um, Mike, and she said, well, you hold on, let me get my fingers together. Well, you told me that I couldn't bring my diamonds to Grenada, so I got these little travel pieces and stuff. Yeah, he said that she couldn't bring her diamonds to Grenada. Girl, what diamonds? Them cubic zirconias that you got going here. Them cubic zirconias. Girl, you ain't got no for real diamonds. Girl, please. Girl, please. You get all of that stuff off that little yellow app, okay? Them Birkins. You renting that Rolls Royce, okay? You renting them clothes, okay? You renting them clothes. And them diamonds you done got them cubic zirconias you got somewhere offline something. Girl, please. Stop it. Anyway, so Drew tells Cynthia on the ride home that Britt, they had literally stopped the car because Britt threw up and it sounded nasty. Okay. I said, oh God. Oh. Ooh, nasty. Okay. And so she said she had to take her corset off, right, because it's a rental. Okay. Because it's a rental. She said, because I wasn't trying to mess up the fit. Yes, because it's a rental, baby. Yes, okay. So yeah, you took it off because you did not want to throw up on the clothes. Yeah, because you got to take them back. Angela called Charles And she's trying to call Charles the day after the anniversary, but she talked to Charles on the day of anniversary, but he was too busy cooking for their daughter. So, when Charles in the kitchen, don't bother him. Don't bother him. That is his zen time. Okay? Don't bother him. And listen, Charles, I wouldn't bother you any time that you in the kitchen. As long as you cooking for me, we good. We good. I don't like to cook. So we good, Charles. I won't bother you none in the kitchen, baby. But yeah, but he did answer the phone to, wish her a happy anniversary and all that other stuff. So anyway, so Brit and Phaedra downstairs eating breakfast. Kelly arrived. She needs some nipple covers. Okay, so Phaedra was like, I got nipple covers. They in my drawer. Just look at my drawer. But so Phaedra filling up on this little girl and stuff. Well, she ain't no little girl. She filling up on Kelly's breast and stuff. Just roll. I said, girl, Phaedra, come here. Just be a lesbian. Bisexual something, child. Okay, just dip your feet in the lady pond. Okay, because you got more comments about female bodies. If they got junk in the trunk, if they got big breasts, small breasts, nipples and all, girl, just go. It's okay. Just go. You ain't, you over 50, you can go on, just hang out. Just do, just dip your feet in the lady pond, girl. So Cynthia asked Brit, was she okay, because she threw up last night. And so she was like, I don't take shots. And then she was like, and she said in confessional, shots are for college girls. We are grown, classy women and wives. Well, most of us are. Yeah, you ain't a wife either. The only wife on the show is Angela. Girl, catch them teas, okay? Catch them teas. You ain't even a wife. We're classy women. That's for college girls. No, people take shots all their lives, honey. Okay? All their lives. If you want to toast to something, you take a shot. It's not that deep, girl. It's not that deep. But you are not married, boo-boo. Okay, moving on. All right, so then Phaedra said after she threw up, one of her nipples was inverted. Okay. Just be a lesbian, Phaedra. Just be a lesbian. Okay. Because you talking too much about women's bodies and nipples and stuff. So then Shamea comes. She said that they still can't track her luggage and stuff like this, but she come with outfits, whatever. Okay. Drew come. They said she looked like Pebbles Flintstone, but Drew didn't take offense to it. She was like, "Hey, I look like Pebbles Flintstone." Okay. She was okay with it. Okay. I look like Pebbles Flintstone. Okay. Moving on. So then they're splitting up. So Portia, Shamea, and Phaedra and Cynthia are going to the waterfall. And then they said, and the rest of us are and Kelly was like, it's cooking with Kelly and Grenada. Kelly. So Phaedra was like, she's so loud. She was like, she the garden gnome that's loud and stuff. I was like, girl, why you call that child a garden gnome? But Kelly didn't take offense to it either. She didn't take offense to it. And so she said, but then Cynthia was like, she was like, I like, loud people. She was like, but I don't like the over talking. That's what Cynthia said. And so Kelly was like, well, did my crystal help last night? And Britt was like, no, it didn't help me. And so Shamea was like, well, Britt, you came into a conversation and changed the subject, and none of us was talking about Apollo. Um, she said, Shamea was like, I was trying to figure out what was going on with Black. And so Britt was like, well, you can't tell me what I can talk about when I have the floor. Mm-hmm. So Drew in confessional saying, yeah, everybody wants to know about Drew's business. She was like, but I want to know about Britt and Shamea. She said they got a little different kind of energy today. She was like, so I want to know what's up with Britt and Shamea. We will soon find out, Drew. We will soon find out. So Portia finally come downstairs with that big ass, fat transfer ass, and Portia, so they riding in the car. So Portia said Britt was a little snippy. She was saying that to Shamea. She said Britt was a little snippy to you in the house last night. And so then Shamea was like, well, you can't show up with a Birkin and a Rolls Royce and give a small box. And so then she said, and she told her about it. So she sent a $250 Cashapp, you know. And so then Phaedra was like, oh my God, oh my God. None of us should have given less than $1,000. You did not say that in the after show when you was in Britt's face. You didn't say that in the after show because it was you, Portia, and Britt on the stage. And you was just like, you got to give what you can give and all that other stuff. Yeah, she was just like, so if that's what you had to give, it's okay. They should have took it. That's what you said when you was in Britt's face. Now you talking about when you ain't in her face. Now you talking about she shouldn't have gave less than $1,000. Well, you should stand on business when you talking in people's face and when you talking behind people's face. Stand on business. That's why I don't like you, Phaedra, because you don't stand on business. You are a confessional shader. Okay, you talking about everybody in the confessionals, and then when they come back and say something about you at the reunion, then you clam up. You clam up. If you gonna stand on it, stand on it. You should have said nobody should have gave less than $1,000, and you should have said that on the after show. Nobody should have gave less than $1,000. Okay, you should have stand on that. Anyway, so then she bring up Drew again. She was like, and what's her name? Drusilla. Girl, what is your heart on with Drew? What is your heart on with Drew? And so Portia was like, yeah, she should apologize to you, Shamea, for calling you a lapdog. You are a lapdog, Shamea. You are a lapdog. Sorry. You are a lapdog. Because when you and Portia was on the outs, you felt the need to talk to everybody about Portia. But when you are on the men's with Portia, so all of a sudden you have a meeting with Rao, and then Portia show up. Mm-hmm. That was all a setup, okay? That's all a setup, okay? Girl, you are a lapdog, and you can't dress. Sorry, but call me anyway. I will say this to you in your face though. But call me anyway. Cause you can always not be a lap dog. Okay? You can always switch it around, okay? But right now on the TV, you was a lap dog, but still call me because in the later in the episode you gonna need me. Okay. Anyway, moving on. So then Phaedra said that, she don't know Angela, but she was like, Charles Oakley is real fun. She was like, he is too much fun. She said, but I ain't hung out with him in about 10 years. And she said, but I've never known him to be married. Phaedra, because you hung out with him 10 years ago, he wasn't married. They only been married 8 years. Okay? You answered your own goddamn question. Goddamn, Phaedra. Yes, they only been married for 80 years. They celebrating the 8-year anniversary. So, yeah, you never known him to be married because you hung out with him 10 years ago. Golly, y'all. And then Portia make the comment talking about, I'm really over 40. I'm getting old. Yes, baby, you are auntie now too. You and Shamea, okay? Y'all aunties, okay? While y'all was talking about, these ladies are aunties, and we the nieces and stuff. Like, you aunties too, okay? You aunties too. Yes. And Kelly and Brit and Drew are the nieces, okay? Y'all the aunties. And Brit and Kelly and Drew are the nieces. Yeah. Yeah, you the auntie. Anyway, so they go with cooking with Kelly. And it was like a distillery that was opened in 1932, and it's the only black-owned distillery that does dark rum, and they had the little shots and everything like that, cause people take shots, Brett. Yeah, but they had the little shots and stuff like that. Yeah, it was nice though. It was nice. And so then now the men that were cooking, the men that were on the aisle in this little area here were cooking with Kelly, they were fine. Every last one of them was fine, okay? So they said they were single, and Drew and Kelly ran up to the table. And so Angela and Britt stayed behind, but Angela said, well, listen, I ain't blind, child. I ain't blind. Okay, I know good looking when I see good looking, okay? But my husband is at home. Yes, but she ain't blind. So they go back to the waterfall, and everybody looked nice at the waterfall. Even Shamea, she said her body wasn't a two-piece body, but she said, but her luggage, she had one piece in her luggage, and her luggage ain't here. So, but everybody looks nice. Everybody, even Cynthia, who gained a little weight, she looked nice too. Everybody looked nice. Even Phaedra. Even though I don't see it for her, she did look nice. And Portia looked nice with her fat transfer ass. Yes, they all look nice. Okay? I'm just wondering, does Portia have a problem with getting like up in them nooks and crannies of that ass? Because you got to keep it clean up in there. You got to keep it clean, okay? Do she have a problem get all in the nooks and crannies? Because when you take a shit, you gotta, I'm asking for a friend. Because I have a problem and I ain't even got a big ass. I just got a, yeah. You got to get all up in there, nooks and crannies and stuff. Anyway. Anyway, back to our regularly scheduled program, okay? So, they sit down to eat. Um, Kelly and Drew was like, let us get divorced before we try to get with any other men. But Brit, they sit down. Brit talking about, well, I had more friction with you, Drew, and you, Angela, but this trip is refreshing. And so then Kelly pulled out a little black napkin and she was like, Drew, I just need to ask you a question. Who is this? And she had the little black napkin. I ain't got no doggone black napkin. Um uh so whatever. And so they go back to the waterfall. And they sit down to eat as well. And so Phaedra was like, I thought it was, weird for what's that sound like, Brit to bring up Apollo. And so then Portia was like, well, she also doesn't feel supported in this group. And so she was just like, Shamea was like, I don't know how she don't feel supported. She was like, she said, I was just wondering who was black. She was like, I was wondering about, Drew, and who was black. She said, I ain't care about Apollo or nothing else. She said, I wanted to know who was black. And so Portia was like, well, per Drew, that's just her friend. Per Drew. Okay. Yes. Apparently that's just her friend. Okay. And so they go back to the cooking with Kelly. And Drew was saying, like, black is just my friend. We flirt, but he's just a friend. She said, I can't get into any kind of relationship until I get out of a relationship. And so she was like, so I don't, we flirt, but that's all we do. So they need to get back to resort because they meeting with the prime minister. Okay, so Phaedra was like, listen, we got to get back. We got to get back. So anyway, on the way back to the resort, so Portia was like, Portia and Shamea sitting in the front seat, and she was like, oh, I love you. And then, and Shamea was like, I love you too. And so, they hug, and she was like, Shamea was like, yes, and I want you to blow air into my booty hole. And so Portia was like, ah! And then they start laughing, and so they make a little stupid song talking about booty, 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 blowing my booty hole, blowing my booty hole, blowing my booty hole, booty, booty, booty. Okay. Okay. But they laugh, and they so happy that they friend Shamea in the confessional talking about, I got my best friend back. I got my best friend back. Yay. Yay. Okay. Yay. And then she said that I don't have my luggage, but I got my best friend. Yeah. All right. We will see. We will see. So they getting ready for dinner. Angela finally gets Charles on the phone. She's like, do you miss me? And Charles was like, okay. Listen, Charles is a Cleveland man. Charles reminds me so much of my father. Okay? They don't give affection, when you ask for it. Okay? They don't give affection when you ask for it. Okay? They give it when they want to give it. Okay? That's the bottom line on those men. Okay? They will show you they love you. Point blank, period. Let me tell you, I talk to my daddy once or twice a year. Okay, once or twice a year. But I was in the hospital last month. Oh, I heard from my daddy. I heard from my daddy. Okay, I was in the hospital last month. Okay. Oh, my daddy called me. You okay? What you need? Okay. Yeah. Okay. So they don't give love or affection or whatever just because you ask for it. That's not how it works. But they will do for you. They will provide for you. Okay. And listen, she ain't Angela ain't got to worry about nothing. He done invested in all these properties that she wanted to invest in, and all the other stuff. He taking a back seat to her, the investment, all that other stuff. He loves her. He loves her, but he ain't going to give the people what they want. That's just not how they roll. That's just not how they roll. He love her. He love her, and I hope that she sees that and she don't let a lot of the negative chatter come and influence her on her relationship, because she really got a good one in Charles. Now I don't know as far as cheating allegations and stuff like that. Now I don't know about all of that. Okay. But I can see that he love her, and he wouldn't even be on this show if he didn't love her. Okay. Do you see Gerald? You see Gerald. And not to say that Gerald don't love Shamea, but Gerald was like, I am not with the okie doke. Okay. But but Charles is. Okay. So Charles, is going to stand by his wife and, play what he need to play. He ain't gonna give a whole lot, but he gonna do what he need to do for right now. Okay. I get it. I get it. And I get Gerald. Gerald was like, I'm not with no. None. Okay. And I understand that too. You see Mike. Anyway. So Shamea says, she downstairs. She said, I want to take a shot, but I'm not pressuring anybody to drink. She says, so if you don't want to take a drink or anything like that, you don't want to take a shot, then you can decline. And Brit was like, oh, I guess that's geared towards me. And so Brit was like, well, I declined in the car. And so, and so, Shamea was like, well, you can just keep declining. You can decline for the rest of the trip. Shamea, you sound a little passive aggressive, baby. You sound a little passive aggressive. Okay. Okay. All right. So they get in the car. Cynthia step on poor little Portia's foot. Ooh. Okay. Yes, she stepped on the Portia's foot. So they go to the restaurant. Shamea's like, we looking like we in the Met Gala. Cynthia was like, she said the BET Awards at best, baby. Yeah. No, I don't think nobody's been to the Met Gala. Maybe Cynthia, but I don't think nobody else been to the Met Gala. No, I don't think nobody has been invited to the Met Gala. Okay, but I think Cynthia may. I think the only person who may have been to the Met Gala is Cynthia. All right, so Kelly thanks. They sit down to dinner, and Kelly thanks a lot ladies for their donations. And so Portia said, yeah, I gave $1,000. I came with $1,000. Because I'm philanthropic. Okay. Okay, girl. I'm philanthropic. So then Shamea. Oh, she gonna say, well, we when we pull up with Birkins, and Bentleys and Rolls Royces, and but we don't give when it really counts. And yeah, she was just like, yeah. And she said, but not really give when it really counts. So Brit was like, is that shade towards me? And so and I put in parentheses, well, baby, a hit dog will holler, baby. I'm sorry. That was shade towards you. Okay. Passive aggressive shade again. But a hit dog will holler though. I'm just saying. And so, but Shamea was like, now Shamea, you should have stood in it. You should have said, yeah, that was shade against you. Okay. But she didn't. She gonna say, well, you're not the only one with Birkins and Rolls Royces. And she said, I got a Rolls Royce. She got a Rolls Royce and all that. Mm-hmm. You should have just stood in it. Yep, that was shade towards you. Okay. But she's still passive aggressive. Okay. And then Britt said it. You're being very passive aggressive. Yes, baby. You are. Okay. And so Kelly says, and I'm paraphrasing because Kelly said a lot of words, but this is what the gist of it was. She said, Britt, you want to be that girl, but you have to be that girl in all aspects of life. So if you want to be the girl who got Birkins or who got Rolls Royce, and you got all these clothes and all this stuff, but you giving $250, that don't work. They expecting more from you. Okay. They only expecting $250 from me. Okay. But I don't have none of that. Okay. They expecting more from you. Okay. So they not expecting a $250 donation when you rolling up in a Bentley or a Rolls Royce and stuff like that. They expecting no more from you. And so Britt in the confessional, she was just like, Kelly's supposed to have my back. That ain't a best friend. Well, it ain't. Okay. And so Britt was like, well, you told me to donate whatever I feel. Is there some confusion? Did you forget? And who being passive aggressive now, Britt? Okay. So Shamea was like, calm down. I'm not going to talk to you if you talking like this. Yeah, because she being passive aggressive now. Okay. And she deflected. Anyway, so Britt was like, is there anybody else that has something to say to me, directly to me? And so Portia was like, yeah, okay, at your event. At your event, you said that you didn't feel supported by the group. And so, but she said, but you're not really open to, being supported and everything like that. And so Britt was like, are you asking me or are you telling me? Okay, Britt. Are you asking me? Are you telling me? Okay. Or then she said, well, let's talk in a friendly tone. Portia was like, let's talk in a friendly tone. And so she said, well, you can't say my number. You gonna ask who is this? Who this? So Portia was like, well, it was a group chat. And I ain't know your phone number. I mean, what the problem is? And then they go back and forth. And then she said, well, You gotta let what she say? You gotta let me finish my you gotta let me finish, baby. And so and Portia was like, no, 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 not baby, not baby. And so Shamea was like, can we put a pin in it because the prime minister coming? And so then the honorable Deacon Mitchell arrives, and he has one drink with the ladies. Now he was not as fine as they like made him out to be. He wasn't as fine as them men on the island there. But he was cute. He wasn't hard on the eyes. I mean, he wasn't ugly. He just wasn't that cute though. To me, he didn't turn me on at all. But they said he got 2 kids, one 17, and everybody was like 17-year-old. Yeah, he looked like he of a certain age, and they assume he's single because he didn't have a wedding ring on. So then they're saying who the producers like who will make a good first lady, and so Drew was like herself, she should be the a good first lady. Phaedra was like, in the confessional talking about not with that Temu outfit, you gonna offend the people with the Temu outfit on, girl. You gonna offend the people with that Elvira costume that you had on in your confessionals. You gonna scare the people with that. She got a little hard on for Drew. I don't understand why. She said, I think Portia would be a good fit for the prime minister. You mean the princess of Thoughtlandia? Is that what you need? Is that what you need? You think that the princess of Thoughtlandia, okay, is going to make a good first lady for the prime minister? Princess Peach Juice, the princess of Thoughtlandia. I don't think so. I don't think so at all. No. No.
Shut up, bitch.
Nope. And so Angela said Kelly would make a good first lady. And Portia was like, yeah, he got 2 kids and no ring and stuff. And so Brit was like, some married men don't wear wedding rings. And so then, Angela.
You stupid.
Girl. So she like, my husband don't wear his ring. Girl. What the hell? What? What? What the?
What the hell? Oh my God. No way.
Girl, what the hell? And then Portia, and that was a funny comment. Portia was like, girl, do you have Tourette's or something? Why you hollering all your business out everywhere? Yes, honey. Yes. You ain't got to tell people that your husband don't wear no wedding ring. Girl, that's why they talking about your husband like a dog now. Girl, you got Tourette's. I'm with you. You got Tourette's. So Phaedra in the confessional talking about marriage is hard, because all the men are crazy. She said, but women love penises. You don't. You don't, okay? Because you talk about women way more than you talk about men, girl. You don't say you don't feel it for no men, but yeah. But you touching breasts. Nipples are inverted. Okay, you talking about she got a big ass. She got a pancake ass. She got all of this. Yeah. Just be a lesbian, Phaedra. Anyway, so they give Angela a cake for her anniversary. They get back in the car. Brit in the car with Phaedra, Angela, and Drew. Phaedra tells Brit that she said you needed to donate no less than $1,000. Okay, but she backtracked that on the after show. But she said you should give no less than $1,000 in your at your level. And so Brit said, Portia never invited me anywhere. And she said, and she said, so I don't understand why, that's the reason why I don't feel supported, because she's never invited me anywhere to her house or anything like that. And so she was like, and Britt was like, yeah, because I was in the hot seat tonight. And so Phaedra, and listen, Phaedra, I agree with you on this one. Phaedra was like, you putting yourself in the hot seat. You putting yourself in a hot seat. You are on ready for these girls, and when getting to know a group of girls, you gotta be friendly. You can't just be on ready for somebody to pop, so you can pop off. That's what happened with Kenya. She was on ready for Kenya. But the first day when she asked, were you married? And she was like, don't you see this ring? And she was just like, yeah, are you engaged or are you married? Because there's no wedding band. She was on ready with that one. And every time she saw Kenya again, she was on ready. When she called her a peasant, then all of a sudden she got Glocks and whips and chains and stuff. Yeah, she was on ready. Then she did it with Angela. Can you read the room? Read the motherfucking room. Yeah. You are on ready. And so Phaedra was saying in the confessional that Brit sabotages and she collects enemies. And you can't be that way in a girl group. And it's the truth. She self-sabotaged this whole season. That's why she is the worst housewife of all time. Because she self-sabotaged this whole season. And she ain't coming back. She ain't go to reunion. She's suing Bravo. And the picture, quote unquote, wasn't her. Girl. Anyway, Shamea's husband called. Gerald was like, listen, we got to call the agency, find somebody else. They not covering up the baby. Her immune system is decreased and all that other stuff. So she was like, but when she rattled off all of those diseases that or all these ailments that her daughter had, I know why, because I've been in the game for 30 years, and I've been a pediatric nurse for 21 of those. Okay, so you can call me Shamea. Okay, we can talk about how you acted on this season, but you can call me. I am at Twitter or X. I am at TikTok. I am at Facebook, and I am at Instagram. Oh, msyelladiva. Okay, you could call me. Okay, I don't do agency, but I could be your private duty nurse, honey. You call me, girl. I'll have that baby swallow real good. Had her pajamas on, had her sitting up talking to me. I got a grandbaby. She talk. Yes, baby. Yes, baby. Yeah, you can call me, girl. But I get it. They said they ain't have a first birthday party for her because her immune system and stuff like that. So I get it. So when they get back to the house, Shamea crying, all the ladies rally around her, including Angela with her fan. This is Shamea. Okay. So Britt come up to the front. I love you. You a sister to me. It's a sisterhood, and and she putting on for the TV, and I think everybody knew that. Yeah, this is sisterhood. Then she was like, I'm gonna take some shots. I'm gonna take shots with you and stuff like that. So she take off her dress. Why? Because that's a rental. She don't want to throw up on that rental, and she don't want to spill nothing on that rental. So she take all her clothes off, put her titties on the counter, but she a classy wife. She acted like a college girl, so you might need to take a shot, okay? Because you ain't acting like no classy wife with your titties on the counter. That's what they did in college. Okay, I ain't never did that in college, but that's what they do in college. That's what white folks do in college. Okay, all right. Girls Gone Wild. Remember that show, Girls Gone Wild. They take they top off. Yeah, but yeah. So like I said, she took her outfit off because that was a rental. Okay, and that was the end of the episode. Okay, so give me a thumbs up, like and share and comment and subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.